Hey, Shalom Israel, Yahaba Shemel Shabakathum, Yo Shemal Thim Bashimel Shah. I just want to say welcome back live to another Friday Night Live from Quadash class. It is I, also 1,000, calling on the box, holding them down. I'm just going to be getting into a lot of different things for tonight class, but above all, like what we all supposed to do at the very beginning of every Live from Quadash class is go over the Live from Quadash Hebrew alphabet chart. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go over this chart here for you. I'm going to start off by saying the basic alphabets, going from right all the way on down to the left, in the right order in which it's supposed to be, as it says right here on this sheet. All right. So we have A, Ba, Ga, Da, Ha, Wa, Za, Ka, Ta, Ya, Ka, La, Ma, Na, Sa, I, Pa, Teza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, Da. All right, in the Israelite School Universal and Practical Knowledge from the Commander and Hana, we are the one that brought this to the forefront for our people to know their proper and true language, which is the Holy Tongue. All right, Lasha 1, Quadash is the Holy Tongue of the Lord. All right, because of course this is the world's oldest language, and these pronunciations these pronunciations that you see for each and every letter, this is the proper pronunciation. All right, so it wouldn't be like the white man would say, such as let me show you an example. What is on over here? So of course, as you can be able to see on the chart, the first letter is A. All right. Now, of course, this is proper pronunciation for this character here, which is A. Now, let me show you well, a lot of false Israelite organizations that learn from the white man how they incorrectly say this letter, all right, in the Hebrew, as to where we in the Israelite School UPK, we call it Yiddish, all right? Just like the same way white people call themselves Jewish because they like a Jew.
Right.
All right. In the same instance in which we call it Yiddish Hebrew because it's somewhat like Hebrew, but it's not the proper Hebrew. All right. Now, I don't know what the hell this is, but this is how they pronounce this letter in the Hebrew. It's Aleph, F, however the hell they pronounce it. This is not the correct way to say R in the Hebrew for this particular character. All right. Let me show you another one. We're going to go with the second letter in the alphabet, Ba. And it's much more simple to say it the way in which it's originally spoken because it's straight to the point, unlike the white man. All right, it's the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet, which is Ba. Let me show you what the white man says. And he has two different examples. Bet. And whatever the hell this is, bet. Bet. I understand. This is the incorrect version of Ba. All right, because this character here in the ancient Hebrew is actually just pronounced in the way in which you see it, Slack it on the Hebrew alphabet chart. All right, so let me turn the camera back on around. What you see on this Hebrew alphabet chart is exactly in which it's supposed to be pronounced in the Hebrew. All right. So this right here on the left hand side is not the proper pronunciation in the Hebrew for the letter Ba. All right, just is pronounced as exactly as the way it is. All right. Now, I do see in some comments pertaining towards the Hebrew that the people in the New Testament, for example, like Yahushua Mashiach, John the Baptist, Paul, Timothy, Luke, Mark, John, so on, that they spoke the modern Hebrew. All right. Now to destroy that crap in the UPK, as far as to the people in the New Testament that was speaking modern Hebrew, let me show you something. Even though Yahweh Shah Mashiach, he knew many different languages. He knew Aramaic, Hebrew, he knew Greek, a lot of different languages. All right. Now, when it comes towards the New Testament, when you look it up, the New Testament in the Bible is written in the Greek, unlike the Hebrew. All right. But of course, everybody in the New Testament, the way in which they were speaking Hebrew, they wasn't speaking so-called modern Hebrew. They was writing the Assyrian Hebrew in their texts. All right, because of course, when you look up the Dead Sea Scrolls, this is what you will see written in formation, the Assyrian Hebrew, and there is no difference between um, our brothers and sisters in the New Testament, Mark, Luke, John, Yahweh Shemashiach, Paul, Timothy, so on. There is no difference in the way in which they were speaking modern Hebrew from Paleo Hebrew. All right, because how can you say that they were speaking modern Hebrew from Paleo Hebrew when the pronunciation is the damn same? All right, so that's why you see there's only one pronunciation for this whole entire chart. The way in which they was writing Hebrew in the Assyrian, they were speaking the same in the Paleo Hebrew. All right, so just to go ahead and destroy that lie right there. Everything that you see as far as for all the way on down to tha, it's the exact same pronunciation for the ancient Hebrew as well as for the Syrian. All right, just so y'all can be able to have that clarification. All right, and then of course on today, what I'm going to be going over is I'm going to be going over a lot of different things, but of course I'm going to be going over prepositions first, just so I can better bring this as a refresher before moving forward. And also as well, if you have any questions pertaining towards what I just said, feel free to ask questions. All right. I'm not going to write all of them. I'm just going to write the most common that you will come across in the scriptures. All right. All right. These are just a few prefix and suffixes that would be prepositions and words that would be attached to either a verb or a noun. All right, so we got ba, which is, and all this is written in the dictionary, just to let you know. We got ba as a prefix or a suffix. I mean, as a prefix, it would be and or with. We got la, which is to or for. We got ma, which is from. We got this is ka, which is like, wa, and, ha, the, ya. If it falls as a suffix, it would be me or my, and then of course da is do, which would be a prefix. All right, so these are just a few right here. I'm gonna provide some examples of what I mean by some letters in the Hebrew alphabet would be prepositions towards words that would be attached to either a noun or verb. All right. And let's start off with all right, we're gonna start off with ba. All right. Let's say in the Hebrew, no, actually I'm gonna write that last. So let's say the metaphor for a word. All right. And actually, let me write this out in the ancient so you can be able to see which letters are connected. So you can be able to see the proper pronunciation for it. All right. All right. So it'll be pronounced metabar. All right. Now, of course, ba is going to be our prefix. Now, like what I just said earlier, ba as a prefix is going to be meaning in. All right. So, metabar is going to be in the wilderness. All right. All right. So that's just one example. All right. So we had now Bashalak. Let's see if I'm in the way of the camera. We got Bashalak. I'm gonna write it out for you in the Hebrew as well. Same thing. All right. Now, of course, the root word is shalak. Shalak just means sin. So it'd be in the sinning. All right. Actually, this will actually be bawa shalak. All right. Or else it would just be in sin. Actually, you can't. That can work as a phrase as well. All right. like my message is in sin. All right, so let me put that back up. And actually, this was actually the right way. All right, so it'd be bashalak. All right, which is in sin. All right, so the root word is shalak. Ba would be the prepositions, the preposition that would be attached towards this verb right here. All right. So of course this would be a verb, sin, and willingness would be a noun. All right. Like I said before, like these prepositions would be attached to either a noun or a verb. All right. All right. So I'm gonna skip ba. I'm gonna go to la next. I'm gonna say Laban. All right. Laban means two or four son. Two or four son. And then of course the root word would be Laban itself. All right, but la would be the preposition. Now son, this would be a noun. All right. Now next word is going to be, let's see, it's going to be land / earth. And this is going to be Ratada. All of my singular. So, of course, la again would be the preposition. And then it would be earth. This would be a noun. And then, of course, it would be to earth. All right. La Ratada. To earth or for earth. All right. Either or, you take your pick. All right, I'm going to go ahead and skip la, go over to the next letter. All right, so we're going to be dealing with Alahayim, which is powers, which would be the word here. All right, so we got Ka Alahayim, which is like the powers. All right. So this in the Hebrew would be, as far as for Ka being a preposition, would be like. Alahayim would be powers. Now, what this would be, either be a verb or a noun. This will be a noun. All right. Because power is an action word like sin or work or kill or destroy. All right. So power, of course, will be a noun. But I just use basically just half of what I put up as far as for those prepositions that I put up on the board. I did some examples of what you run into when you're reading scriptures in the ancient Hebrew. All right, some words may be nouns, some words may be verbs, and whatnot like that the case, adjectives, but of course, these prepositions will only be tied to nouns and words in which you will see. All right, so if I happen to write, let's say for an example, Bashamayim, actually, it's like, let's say Bashem, all right, so we're going to use Bahashem for an example. Ba will be in. Ha as another preposition that I had up on the board earlier, which means da. So we have two prepositions. We have one here, and then we got another one right here. So we got two. And then our root word is going to be sham, all right, which is going to be meaning name in the Hebrew, all right. So it'll be in the name, all right, in the name of who, in the name of whoever. But you will have more than one prefixes that will be prepositions that will be attached to either a verb or a noun. All right, so that's just another example. And of course, you can be able to find these all throughout the scriptures as well, because you will come across them. And just in case if some of y'all forgot online what a pronoun is, a pronoun is a word that just simply describes a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing, and a verb is an action word. All right. All right, this is going to be similar to what we just did, but it's going to be a little bit different. And the word I'm going to be using for this is going to be bayaf, house. All right. Actually, I'm going to write this in ancient Hebrew. All right. All right, so of course we're going to be using suffixes for the word house, and for some of the prepositions that will fall as a suffix at the end of this word, because house will be a noun. All right, and then of course prepositions can be attached towards this word here, because of course it is a noun. All right, so if I want to say in the Hebrew, my house, it'll be bayaf yah. Because what I just said earlier, yah as a suffix at the end of a word, if it's a noun or a verb, it will be making it personal. All right, meaning it will be possessive. All right, because this is a possessive noun. All right. So it'll be but yah. All right. And then also remember we're dealing with possessive pronouns. So this now here in the house, this is what we're going to be always going to be using. All right. If you want to say his house, and then again, it will be at the end of the word because we're dealing with suffixes. It will be bayaf wa. So bayaf wa would be his house. If you want to say it in Hebrew. And I'm gonna go ahead and write out um, the preposition right here next to it. Well, actually, I can just circle it. No, this is actually better. All right, so we have ya at the end, which is my house. If it happens to fall as a suffix, and then we got wa, which is going to be the his. All right. Now her house in the Hebrew would be bayaf ha. All right, because ha as a suffix would be feminine. All right. And also as well, we also have our house in the Hebrew because our Hebrew is anak nawa, but we're going to use the abbreviation for it, which is nawa, and put at the end. All right, so it'll be bayaf nawa. All right, and then nawa, because I write over here, it just simply going to be meaning our or we in the Hebrew, as the abbreviation for anak nawa. All right. This is going to be masculine. And this mask right here that I put in parentheses, this is going to be masculine. All right. I'm going to make one masculine and one feminine. Still trying to write in the insert. Good night. All right, so it'd be by your thumb. All right. All right, so with the na, it's gonna what makes it feminine if it falls at the end of a word, and same thing for the ma. If it falls at the end, it's gonna make it masculine. All right, so these are just some examples of suffixes that would be tied to the end of a word that would be prepositions for letters from the Hebrew alphabet. All right, so like I said many times before, these prepositions, which would be letters like ka, la, ya, you got ha, you got da. What else? Which one I'm missing? You got ba. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, you got wa. That's also another one. Let me see. You also got ma. You also got sha. So that'll be altogether. So altogether, you would have 9 um, prepositions that would be in the Hebrew alphabet that would be attached to a noun or a verb. All right. Let me see if you can be able to see this on the screen. Yeah. So of course, you got 9 prepositions in the alphabet that would be attached towards pronouns, nouns, and verbs. All right. So those were just basically just some examples that I showed you up on the board. You can be able to get this on down and copy it. I'm about to move on to the next segment and hop in it. All right. All right, so we're going to be dealing with suffixes, plurals, and I'm also going to go ahead and get into another way to make another way to identify words that are plural, and how you can maybe make words plural, and then also translate words from the English to the Hebrew. All right. All right, so our first word, I'm just throwing this out here. I'm just going to use Isupk for an example. Now, Isupk just means brother, but if you want to make it plural, you're going to add the at the end. Isupk would be the root word. The is what's going to make it plural. The way you write it out in the Hebrew. Would be as such. All right, so it'd be Ak. All right. So that's how it works. And if you want to go ahead and just put the S at the end of brothers, at the end of brother, and that's how you make it plural. All right. So if you want to go ahead and say son, which is bond in the Hebrew. But if you want to go ahead and make it plural from son to sons, then of course it would just be, let me write this right here. It would be the same thing like for brothers, so it would be Bunya. All right, so Bunyam would be sons. All right. And of course, you will only use. That's also another thing I want to point out. When you're dealing with these particular set of nouns, the young will be at the end. But when it comes towards verbs that are action words, which would be like sin, work, kill, you would add a wa in between the first and second letter to make it plural. All right. The way you make nouns plurals, which is these words here, you just simply add the at the end. All right. Let me see if I can write this up here. All right. So I put up here for nouns, you're gonna put yum, and for verbs, you're gonna put a wa between the first and second letter. I'm gonna show y'all some examples of that in a minute. Just bear with me. All right. But now we on the noun daughters. All right. So of course, daughter just means baf. It's like a banana.
Slack real quick.
Come.
Okay, come on. What is Hebrew word for We went for above rubies.
Above rubies?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get to that for you. All right.
Do I, brother? Appreciate it.
I ain't about to. So we have up here, we have Banawaf, which means daughters. All right. Now, of course, daughter by itself, it just means Banaf. It'd be written out like this. But of course, this will be the word in this word for daughters. All right. All right, there we go. So this waf is what's making the plural. All right. Let me erase this. This waf at the end is what's making the plural. Same thing like with the yum for both sons and brothers. All right. If you want to say days in the Hebrew, days in the Hebrew would be yawam. It's like yawam is a root word for day. All right, but days is going to be different. All right, so your one is day as a root word, but days is going to be written out differently. All right, so it'll be yum and yum, and you find this a lot in the Bible. All right, yum and yum is days. All right, but your one would just simply be day by itself. All right. And then, of course, yum is what's making it plural. All right. All right. So these are just some nouns that you can better see how they made plural by taking a root word and then adding a yum at the end. Some that are feminine, you have to add the waf. All right. So now going on over here towards the verbs, which are action words, I'm going to show you some demonstrations of those. So bear with me for a second. All right, so if we want to say in the Hebrew for fall, fall in the Hebrew would be Nepal. All right. So Nepal is fall, but if you want to make it plural, because we're dealing with plural suffixes, then actually this wouldn't be a suffix, slakia. But as far as for the plurals that are nouns, these are suffixes. All right. Write that right here. This one right here would be a prefix. All right, because of course it's going to fall at the very beginning. So Nepal is fall in the Hebrew, and of course this is how it's written down in the Hebrew itself, Nepal. But the way you make it plural, since we on plurals right now, make words plurals, and identify words that are plural, you just simply get rid of the na, then you put a wa next to pa, then you bring the na back in front. All right, so of course it's going to fall in between the first and second letter, so it'll be nawapal, which would be falling. All right. Now, of course, this will be a prefix, but of course, when you come in with these prepositions, they will fall for nouns at the end, and of course, there will be prepositions that will fall at the very beginning as well. All right, which you can make words into nouns. I mean, into plurals, which would be verbs. All right, which is one right here. So let me bring another one up. All right, let's say kill, for example. Kill in Hebrew would be hadah. All right, so hadah in the Hebrew is kill. If you want to say from kill to killing. All right, so let me get out of the way right here. So we got kill, which is hadah. You just simply just add the wa in between the first and second letter, and it would be hawadah, which would be killing. All right. So just keep that in mind for verbs. The way you make it plural, you add a wa between the first and second letter, and for nouns, you add a yum or either a waf at the end. All right, and it may be different as well. It may be just like how I showed you prior towards this example, to where you may need to add. No, actually that's different. But of course, you add the wa and you add the yum and the waf, and there's also a yun as well. All right, so let's say. Let's say, for example, Athan, all right? And I know I'm all over the place, like it. Athan, that would be you plural, all right? This is pretty common in ancient Hebrew. This would be you plural, but of course this would be feminine. Remember what I said earlier in the last example where I had na on this side of the board, which means feminine if you add it at the end of a word, if you're directing towards a group of women. All right. So this tan, what should be this, which I provided for house when we was breaking down suffixes dealing with pronouns. House was a pronoun. Tan would be what makes that would make that possessive, which will make that possessive. All right. So of course you can't make words plural with some other words. It is based upon the context in which it's based upon the context in which it is. All right. So of course than can be used made to make a th, which is you, to a than or a thumb to make it plural. All right. So that's just another example right there. I'm gonna go ahead and lead us up on the board for both nouns and verbs. I'm going to go ahead and give you a second to write this on down. I'm about to move on over to the next segment in a minute. One thing I've been saying as well about what Christ said when he was being crucified by the Romans. He said in Hebrew, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Like a lot of people saying that was the main language that Christ is speaking in, which is a damn lie. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get into the scripture right now. Pull on up, read on out to you. Actually, I'm just going to write this out a little bit better. All right. So I'm going to have to pull up the scripture right now for you and read it on out. And keep in mind, like I said before, like Yahushua Mashiach, he didn't just spoke Hebrew. He spoke Aramaic. He spoke Greek. He spoke a lot of different languages. You understand? Because of course, during this period of time, just like how Moses was when he was what the governor of Egypt. No, that was Joseph. But of course,
Who was?
Moses.
Moses, he was a prince. He was like he was a grandson of Pharaoh.
But he had like high ranking power in Egypt because of course he was right there next to Pharaoh.
He was a general of Pharaoh's army.
He was like the general of Pharaoh's army. Just like how Moses had a prestige lifestyle to where he wasn't like his brothers in the ghettos. You know what I'm saying? To where he had a lot of things that was access to him as far as for like education or whatnot like that the case, having knowledge of a lot of different things, and even more having knowledge of different languages. You understand? That's what Christ had. All right, and he did spoke in different languages, but his primary language was Hebrew. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read this scripture now to you. All right, this is Matthew 27 and verse 46. It says, "In about the ninth hour, Yahweh shall cry with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani." That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? All right. Now, of course, here in this instance, Christ is actually speaking Aramaic. Now, Aramaic is Hebrew itself. It's just a different form of Hebrew. All right. I mean, it's just a language that derives from Hebrew, just like all other languages. But of course, Aramaic is the closest language towards Hebrew. All right. Just like the same way, what came out of Aramaic, you got Arabic. All right, which the Arabs speak. That came from Aramaic. Aramaic came from Hebrew. All right. But of course, when you look at it in the Bible, it's written in Greek formation. Because like what I said at the very beginning of the class, it is written in Greek. Because what period of time was Christ living in? He was living in times of the Romans. All right. That's where they spoke and lived a Greek lifestyle. All right. Just like the same way us niggas speak some wetbacks in America, blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians, we speak English though with Hebrews. All right. So of course we can not only speak English, but we can speak our national tongue as well. All right. So I'm going to have to put this on up for you so you can be able to see as far as for proof. Bear with me. All right. So as you can be able to see it on my phone, this is on the Blue Letter Bible. You can be able to see the language which Christ spoke, as it says, part of speech is Aramaic. All right. This is on G4518. As far as for the link pertaining towards the title, and then like I just said earlier, the New Testament is written in the Greek. You understand? That's why there's a lot of mistranslations in the Bible that only the Israelite School, Universal and Practical Knowledge can better bring out. All right.
Right.
So just like, for example, like Jehovah. Jehovah is a mistranslation of the Bible, which simply means Yahweh. All right. All right, so this is Greek right here, and then the way you know this is Greek because of course there's e's in this language. There's no e's in ancient Hebrew. That lets you know right off the bat that this is not Hebrew itself. All right. And also key note, remember this year at the end. I can go back. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to that a little bit later. It's when I'm going through for the whole entire class, so I can keep noting that yeah at the end. All right. I'm gonna go over it. I'm just gonna write it in Hebrew first. Just bear with me for a second. All right, here we go. All right, so in the Greek and where Christ, in the Greek in which is written in the Bible, is Eli, Ima, Lama, Sabachthani. In the Hebrew, in which Christ said, is Abba, Abba, Lama, Sabachthani. All right, which is, let me write it out in English as well. Actually, I don't need to write it in English. We already read it in the scripture. All right, which is basically just my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Now, this Yah at the end, it's going to be it's going to be a preposition, all right? Because what was Yah? Yah was mine, all right? This would be thou hast forsaken me, to where it'll fall at the end, that Yah, all right? But of course, you won't find it in the Greek because, you understand, it's written in Greek, all right? So this is actually what Christ really said, and if the whole entire New Testament was written in the Hebrew, like how we have it in the Tanakh for the Old Testament, this is how it would look in the Syrian Hebrew. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and lead us up there. I'm gonna lead us up here on the board, and I'm about to go ahead and get to the brother's question up next. All right.
Above rubies.
All right. So the brother's question was, in the Hebrew, he wanted above rubies. And now I forgot how to spell above. Slocky. All right. All right. So we got above rubies. He wants in the Hebrew. It'll be panyan. Ila'a. All right. All right. So it'll be panyan ila'a. All right. And of course, for those of you who may not know, I'm not going to use a bit screen today, but if you want to find out words real quickly, and also to better proof check your work, to make sure that's correct, what we do in Islamic PBK, in which I've been taught by the men above me, is that we use different sources on the internet that's been given to us. All right, so we use sources like the Hebrew lexicon.com. We use the Blue Letter Bible. We use Two Letter Lookup, and we also have different books that we teach to better look up different words. All right, so of course, this is the Blue Letter Bible app right here. You can get on your phone. The way in which you do it is that you just simply just type in whatever word that you may be looking for. All right, and then of course it bring it right on up for you. You go to the scripture where it's at, as it's going to be highlighted in red. All right, you just simply click on it. You click on the scripture you're looking for, And then you go to concordance. Concordance is what's going to give you the main source in the root word and what it means. All right, so you just go all the way down to where it says is above rubies. It has it for you in Hebrew. All right, to where it gives you it in the Hebrew itself. All right, so that's a good source for you to go ahead and use. You can maybe use it to your own advantage and whatnot. This is what we always recommend in the Israelite School PK. All right. All right, so after I put these up, we're going to go back into the scriptures again. And what you're going to see in the scriptures is going to look very familiar to you, what I wrote up, what I'm writing up here on the board. All right. Shalom. All right, this may be the last time I'm gonna be writing this before I fully go into demonstrating this in the scriptures, because of course these pronouns right here is going to be pronounced as Anya, which is I, Anaknawa, which is we or either are. Let me put it on dash right here. It's are either we. And of course, abbreviation for is what I brought up earlier, which is Nawa. We got you, which is a tha with a ha at the end, which is going to be making it feminine. You got you, which is going to be masculine, which is simply a tha without the ha at the end. Then masculine plural would be a thumb. And then masculine plural feminine, you, it would be a thumb. All right, slightly. Then we also have hawa, which is he, and ha-ya, which is she. The difference is the wa and the ya. All right, this wa is going to be making it masculine, and the ya is feminine. Just so you can easily tell the difference. All right, because the ha and the is always going to be there, but the wa and the ya is always going to be what's it called? Transparent when you're dealing with hawa ha-ya. All right, ha-ya she, ha-wa is he. Same thing with they. They is hum, and they feminine is hand. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this up on the board before I get into the scriptures up next. Brother, you got any questions between towards the Hebrew itself? Anything? No, law. Let's see. I'm not trying to do a scripture because it may take me over the time. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see. Let's say, for example, I'm about using these pronouns because, of course, what I described earlier as far as for these prepositions that would be tied to these nouns, I'm gonna go ahead and provide some examples. All right. Let me see something real quick. Actually, I'm gonna bring this up. This should be 12. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read the scripture out to you. All right, this is Numbers chapter 12 and verse 7. It says, "And Moses, my servant, is not so, who is faithful in all my house." Now, what we was dealing with at the very beginning of the class, we're dealing with prefixes and suffixes. As far as for prepositions, as far as for the noun that comes from this Hebrew language chart, you will find that there would be attached to either a verb or a noun. And we're going to find this out in the scripture right now. So as I write this out in English, I'm going to have, actually, you wasn't having to be in class, lock it. I'm going to go ahead and show y'all where they at in the scripture, all right? What is Mashah in Hebrew?
Masha.
Yeah, Mashah. What character? What character was I was just speaking about in the scripture?
Moses.
Moses. Mashah is Moses. All right. One thing I want to say about the Hebrew itself, when you read the Tanakh, as you read it in the ancient Hebrew, as it's written out in the Syrian, it will come out differently when you translate it into the English, or if you write it out word by word in English, so you can be able to understand what it's talking about. It's gonna come out different. But of course, the reason why is because the Bible speaks in metaphors. All right, as to where when we speak in metaphors as Blacks, Hispanics, and American Indians, we cut it straight. We cut it straight to the point. We are very direct people. All right, and you can see what I mean. It says, "Unto my servant Moses," it's like this is who right here. "Unto my servant Moses, who my house faithful he." All right. Now, of course, in the English, that's why we have that's why we have English translations. All right. That's where in the English it would say, "My servant Moses is not so, who was faithful in all my house." All right. This is a metaphor as you translate it. That's where we know exactly what it means because we just read it in the English and out of the scripture. All right. So now, as far as identifying these prepositions and where it's at, let's see. All right, because of course Moses doesn't have any, as you can be able to see, as that's his actual name. All right, but this looks very familiar from what we did earlier. All right, as far as my house, this Yah is a preposition because it would be mine. All right, and house would be the root word. Okay, and that's basically just it. And as far as Hawa'ah, exactly what I just wrote over here earlier. All right, so this is basically just the only one that I see so far. La, it's like it, la'ah can also mean unto, just like it can better mean no as well. All right. So as far as for the scripture, this would be just about the only one that you can better use. I mean, that you can better see how it has a preposition that's attached towards this noun. All right. So if you happen to have any questions pertaining towards this class as well, as we still live, you can better put in your question. I'm about to wrap up the class. We always have our last one dance classes every Friday night at 7 p.m. here in Chicago. We be live on Chicago Israelites on Facebook and Isupk Chicago on YouTube. All right. So if you interested in the class, you can always be able to go to our website, subscribe, and like us on Facebook. And also as well, please give your tithes and donate to the Isupk. All right. That's my time, Israel. Shalom.